Hey guys, what's going on? BMcG here. Today we have a video on Super Skrull, my 33rd rank 3. So start off, we're just going to look at his abilities. So only notable synergy that he really has, in my opinion, is this one with Iron Skull, or not Iron Skull, Iron Fist. I'm not even going to edit that out, that was funny. Iron Fist allows him to armor break when gaining a Fury buff, which is pretty consistently, honestly. So it's decent enough to work for certain content. Doom gives him a vigilance at the start of the fight for 15 seconds, and then Skrull also acts as a placeholder for like the Fantastic Four synergy. Although if you run him with the other Fantastic Four members, it doesn't really count towards like having the full Fantastic Four team. Pausing here, he's immune to Shock and Incinerate. His Fury buffs gives him block penetration, and armor up gives him crit resistance. I think that's pretty cool. And then his Hypnotic Gaze debuff, that's basically just a Falter debuff, comes back every 25 seconds, lasts for 1 second when the opponent triggers it. This is one of my favorite things about his kit. I think he has a great kit, honestly. He just needs a numbers tune-up. I think he's got a solid foundation for a kit, he just needs a buff. But that Falter is amazing for certain things. I'll show you guys why I like it in this video. We're just not going to talk about the Cosmic Energy Overload or the receptors. I'll explain that in the Labyrinth of Legends Star-Lord Showcase. I just wanted to highlight here. When he gains 4 Fury buffs, when he enters his Overload, he gains an Undermine buff for 15 seconds, and that will grant unblockable to any attack which the opponent will auto-block. He's the only character with Undermine, and this is the only way around Penny's auto block mechanic, which I think is pretty awesome. If they do add a Penny counter in the game, they will 100% have Undermine or easy access to Unblockable, because that's pretty much what Undermine is. It's just an unblockable for whenever the opponent auto blocks. Special 1, you can convert up to 5 Fury buffs into armor. Special 2, convert 5 armor ups into Fury buffs. And the Special 2 places Incinerate, actually pretty potent Incinerates, and those scale with the Furies, obviously, so pretty sweet. Special 3 will give you an Aptitude buff, which is decent. So the synergy team in this video is Dr. Doom, Black Bolt, Ronin, and Iron Fist. Black Bolt and Ronin give plus 30% potency to Fury buffs, which I think Super Skrull needs. Like I said, I think he's got a great foundation for a kit. He just needs a value buff. And one of the ways you can increase or make him easier to use is make his buffs last longer. So what we did here to start was use our Special 1. Every time you hit the opponent, that little cosmic icon with the planet or whatever, see how it's when I strike the opponent or they hit me, I gain a buff, and then it goes on cooldown, and that's his energy receptors or whatever. And that allows you to get the utility buffs or damage buffs that come with going into Overload. Overload happens when you gain 5 buffs that way. The little planet icon will show how many numbers that you're at. So see how I'm at 3 right now, or now I'm going to be at 3 when he stops evading me. This is the weirdest AI I've ever had for Star-Lord and Labyrinth, but essentially what you want is to have 8 Fury buffs when you Overload, and that will give you Nova Fists, and that will allow you to access your damage. And in order to get the damage, you have to throw your Special 1. That will allow your Fury buffs that you get at first to convert into armor ups. Those will last longer than the normal Fury buffs that you get when just using them with your receptors or whatever. His kit is so convoluted, but once you get the hang of it, it's not bad. He's like, it took me, I think, a month to fully understand his kit, and that's not good for like a character, in my opinion. It's really not good to have a character that takes like having to like study their kit to really understand how they work. But like once you get it, you get it. It's just one of those things. It's like riding a bike. Some people get it at first, some people take a little bit longer, but like once you get it, you can put it down for a year and know how to do it again in the future. That's probably the best way I can put it. And I'm still not playing him perfectly, but I think that's just due to his high stress rotation. The durations are too short, even with this synergy that increases Fury duration. And he's honestly a decent character when you can get his damage phase up, but it's just so tight without synergies. And even with synergies, it's still super tight. I don't know. I ranked him for defense for unstoppable armor. I've been having fun with him. He's cool. I use him a bit in 7.4 exploration. I don't know. I think he's a cool character. I think his kit is really cool. The idea is really cool. I just don't like how complicated it is. And yeah, I don't know. I have fun with him. That's the only thing that matters. And like once you get it, you get it. That's the best way I could put it. Like when I first got him and tried doing his rotation, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the Nova Fist buffs, and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just not gonna use this guy ever again. And then Unstoppable Armor came up for defense tactic for Tier 1 War, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Time to rank Super Skrull. So I took him to rank 3. He's been a beast on defense for us. He's just an absolute menace. And then once I took him to rank 3, I started playing around with him a bit. And I'm like, oh, now I finally know how to use him. So I figured it out. And yeah, I mean, his kit design, he's got like the, how do you say it? He's got like the archetype of a cosmic character, right? He's got access to tons of buffs. His specials deal, or special 2 deals a ton of damage. He's got power gain. He's got other buffs that will counter certain things like the vigilance, the undermine. He can also go fully unblockable when you get 8 armor ups. And then he's also got access to incinerate damage. So he fits like the typical cosmic character build, which will allow him to benefit from tons of nodes that benefit the whole cosmic class, if that makes any sense. There are certain characters like, let's say for the tech class, Ghost doesn't really fit the tech archetype, if that makes any sense. Like the common themes for tech champs is have an armor up buff and be able to control power somehow. So when you have those nodes that will benefit tech attackers for having those things, Ghost doesn't benefit from it. Super Skrulls like those characters that will benefit from those nodes, if that makes sense. So this is in 7.4. The nodes are Cosmic Fracture, Turtling, some silly node where if the opponent has 6 armor breaks, when you knock them down, they'll turn to armor up buffs, and when they have 6 armor up buffs, you'll take a bunch of damage. Honestly, it's whatever. This node is whatever. Like, see how Ghost had 4 armor breaks, and then I knocked her down, and then she gained 4 armor ups. If she had 6, I would take a burst of damage. I think you'll see it in this video anyways. So the ideal way to play him is to throw your special 1 before you overload and make sure you get 4 fury buffs. So once you launch the special 1, you convert those 4 fury buffs into 4 armor ups. And then you want to immediately race to your special 2, convert those armor ups into fury buffs. And then you guys will see now, once I finish this cycle, I will have I'm already at 8 fury buffs, and I'm at 9, and that immediately gave me access to Nova Fist. So like, this is the way you want to play Super Skrull, but the timing is so tight and it's so tough to do so that like there's no point in using him. It's just like, you use him if you want to have fun. That's the best way I could put it. So next up we have She-Hulk on this node, and you know, he does decent for this lane. I used him for exploration on this lane. Then I got to Penny Parker and died, even though he counters Penny. It's just the fight took so long because a lot of his damage comes from Incinerate, and she's Incinerate immune, so I ended up just dying. And then I used Hercules for the rest of the lane, and it worked fine. So right here, I just threw the special 1 into her block because I was able to get those 4 Fury buffs converted to armor up buffs, and that resets our receptors, so now we can build up our Fury buffs again, work to getting our special 2 off. He's one of those characters who really does benefit from high Sig, but like, why would you invest Sig Stones into Super Skrull if he's just going to be on defense? It's whatever. He's going to be a beast for Battlegrounds. He's been a beast for Alliance Port defense. I don't know. I find him fun to use. His animations are absolutely beautiful. He's one of those characters who could get a buff in the future. I have no inside info. I'm just gonna make that clear. I just think he's one of those characters like Psycho Man who could really use a buff. He's got the perfect foundation for a value only buff. He's got a lot of cool things, like right there, that falter. You can allow it to, like, you know how I'm talking like I'm talking to somebody. Like for Captain Britain, she goes unstoppable, and you could use unstoppable as like you block while unstoppable, they'll hit your block, and since you're unstoppable, you can just interrupt that attack and technically intercept. You could do the same thing with falter, which I think is really cool. Having a time falter you know you can rely on. It's almost like having an evade mechanic that you can fully trust. Next up, we're in, I think, a bit of 7.2. Can't remember what quest. I think 7.2.2. But this is a villain lane. Villainy, only villains gain power. You knock down the champ a certain amount of times, then they'll gain a passive fury or whatever. And then there's power shield. Super Skrull is one of those characters who does benefit a ton from power shield because he's got damage over time that comes from his special too. The incinerate scales with the power shield. Power shield, I think, gives you 400% attack rating during specials, so that'll allow the incinerates to deal even more damage. So the goal here, we just converted our fury buffs into armor up buffs from our special 1 again, and we're just gonna ramp up. You guys will see in this fight why I love the falter so much. I think it's an underrated piece of utility in anyone's kit. It's an underrated aspect of the game, in my opinion. Like there's certain things like auto block that I think are really cool for offensive purposes. There's a lot of potential with like using certain mechanics for offense, and I think falter is one of those. I really would like to see people utilize, or like the designers use falter more in certain kits. Like Ebony Maw is one of those characters who will falter the opponent and get tons of benefit from doing so. Super Skrull can use falter to pretty much create openings for himself. I think, like right there, like I didn't want to evade the whole special 2. I'm not good at it, so I knew I had the falter to lean on, and I just let him trigger my falter, and then I just dashed out. I think that's like such a cool safety net that you can throw into a character's kit, and I think it's highly underutilized, and I'd like to see it used more. Same thing with auto block. One of my favorite characters, Overseer, has auto block after throwing a special attack. That saved my bacon so many times in Alliance War. I mean, sometimes when I'm even questing with him, I'm like, all right, I know I don't really have to block after using my special attack because I have this auto block passive, so I'll just let them hit me, and then if they hit me twice in a row, I think is when the auto block will trigger. Because it doesn't trigger off like just hitting him once. It has to be like consecutive hits, I think. I don't really know the way it's coded, but I think that's how it is. But yeah, I don't know. I really like defensive mechanics being utilized offensively. I think that's a really cool design space that's not really been touched on lately, and I'd like to see it touched on more, if that makes sense. Like Penny's auto block, I mean, it's annoying as fuck on defense, but it's great for saving your ass when fighting with her. I don't know. I think it's a really cool area that the developers could look into, especially using falter. But I'd love to see Super Skrull get a buff. He's such a cool villain. He's got the powers of all 4 Fantastic Four members, and he's a Skrull, the only Skrull that we could play as in the game right now. I don't know if they'll ever add another one, but I think he's just so cool, and I think he warrants a buff just because he's so damn cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The lanes I took him on, they're obviously going to benefit him because the design of Act 7 is like have a couple nodes that you need to counter, and then give a big buff to who you're going to bring to counter these nodes. It's not like Act 6 where everything's super punishing. Just the design of Act 7 is a bit different, so it's really hard to find a spot where you can just show off a character for how they are. And yeah, I don't know, I have fun recording this footage for you guys. If you guys want more Super Skrull content, I mean, let me know. I'll try to find more places to use him, I guess. Battlegrounds is coming up. He's going to be an asshole defender, and if I ever have to use him on attack, I will. He can counter Penny decently. I'm just afraid he's going to time out. I just have yet to really test it, and I'd like to test it sometime. But yeah, I think he's a solid character. I think he needs a buff. Just a value buff would be nice. Make him a little bit easier to use, reduce the stress. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I think this is the last fight that I'm going to show. So if you guys did enjoy, consider hitting like, consider subscribing. If you already subbed, you know I love you. And see you guys for the next video or stream. Peace out.